Happy Tuesday, everybody. Today is October 12th, 2021, and today's guest is Curt Geier, and we're discussing the last 10 days of hunting that him and I have endured. All right, welcome to the Fall Podcast. I am your host, Aaron Blasey, and today's episode is 183, and today's podcast is a good one. Curt Geier from Working Class Bowhunter Podcast joins me, and we are talking about the last 10 days of hunting that we've been going through. We're covering Illinois. I'm down in Illinois right now hunting, and I've had some really good encounters, really close encounters with some big deer. We get into talking about hunting in 80 degree weather early season, talking about hunting mornings, a big section on scent control and how to keep your scent, down as much as you can when you're sweating, going to the stand, all that stuff. So we cover a plethora or a plethora, however you want to pronounce it, of different topics, and I think we covered it all. It was a good podcast. Hopefully you guys are out there, getting after it and hunting and knocking deer down and having fun doing it. So, with that being said, I do want to say thank you, everybody out there, for all the support and all the downloads on everything. And guys, go check out Working Class Bowhunter Podcast, and they have a new podcast out as well, Working Class on Deercast with the Jury. So go check that out. Also, Curt does talk a little bit about that at the end, so you get a little more information on what he is doing over there with that. So with that being said, let's get over to this interview with Curt, and like I said, good luck this fall. All right, I'm recording then as well. Okay, let's we'll get into this here. All right, you ready? All right, welcome back to the Fall Podcast. Today, Curt Geier is with me. Curt, what's going on, man? I appreciate you jumping on in short notice here.
Hey, buddy. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah.
Always a good time. If I can jump on, I'm in,
For sure. I feel like I'm calling you last minute all the time, but it is what it is.
I'm not doing anything else anyway, so whatever, right?
Just a deadbeat over there.
Yeah, dude, I don't do anything.
Oh, shit. I'm actually 2 hours south of you right now in Illinois, and I have no vehicle. I really wish I could come up and just get in the studio with you. Eventually, it'll happen.
Yeah, it has to. Hunting brings us together, but keeps us apart at the same time, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Dude, it is,
yeah.
Right now we're recording this. It's Monday, October 11th, and you and I have had some pretty good sits the first, 10, 11 days of the season, and I wanted to pick your brain. As of recent, the last couple of days, I've had some really good sits in really hot weather, and I just wanted to kind of get on, bullshit a little bit, but talk about some things that people kind of fight with, in early season when it's so hot and when you're hunting, and then kind of give everybody just a little update on what you got going on as far as hunting so far and what I got going on, and just BS a little bit, talk for, an hour and see where it goes from there, just a couple girls gabbing,
Right. A bunch of dudes out here duding.
Dude.
For sure. Yeah, dude, honestly, for how hot and kind of crappy the weather's been, I don't know if it's fair to say it's been crappy, but it's typical early October weather,
Yep.
Hot 80s weather. I've seen, like you said, an abnormal amount of deer, I feel like, for how hot it's been, for how my seasons normally go.
Right.
Normally it's fairly dead for me until like the 20th of October, and then I start to get a little more excited and make some serious moves. I've seen a lot of young bucks. I've seen more bucks than does this year already, which is strange. Mostly young deer, couple good deer, you know. But really, like with the wind we've had and sort of just the layout of certain things, as far as just temperature, wind direction, layout of the ground, I haven't been able to make the moves I would like to make, but it's so early.
Yes.
Yep.
It's funny
it's debatable whether or not you should be doing it anyway.
Exactly. And it's funny you say that you've seen more bucks than you have does. Across the board, I'm the same way. Michigan and Illinois so far in the first 11 days of season, I've seen more bucks than I have does, hands down. And I don't know why that is.
I wonder why. Yeah, I don't know. Is it collectively people shoot more does now? I don't know.
I don't know. Or I'm hunting farms that are just, the buck to doe ratio is really good, maybe, or the doe numbers are down. I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be that. I do know in Illinois, this farm that I'm hunting, it's the first time I've ever hunted it. And I've hunted it. I got here last Wednesday, so I hunted it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now here we are Monday, and it's pouring down rain. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hunt tonight or not, because I don't know if it's gonna stop. But I will say the bucks. I'm not seeing a lot of deer in all my sits, but when I am, I'm seeing the right deer. I can say that.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can really ask for. I mean, I would rather have, I don't know, I love seeing numbers of deer. I do.
Yes.
But like, let me give you an example where I'm going with that. The other day, I sat in a spot for the first time, and I looked behind me, and I hear, the sound with like a deer coughs?
Dude. Okay, I have a story for when you're done about what happened with a deer cough. Go ahead. But yes, I do know. I love when they cough. Because
I do too.
Because you really, if you don't know they're there, you're like, you hear a cough and you're like, okay, he's right there. There's a deer there.
Yeah, especially earlier in the
Yes.
season when a lot of that lower foliage is so thick and you can't always see. And so I kind of, and I don't know if this might be incorrect, but it's just something that in my experiences I've seen. I kind of associate that cough as in like they're bedded or were just bedded or getting up from a bed. It might not have any correlation with that at all, but let me continue. I don't continue my story because I hear a cough and I look over and I see a buck standing. It's like he got up, adjusted, coughed, did his like chewing his cud, doing whatever, and then he bedded back down like 35 yards from me. And a nice like 125 inch, maybe a 130 on his best day 8-pointer, and that was really cool to see him bedded under me. And what I was getting to is like when you see deer, you'd rather see the right deer. I thought that was cool. But then now I have to sit there on Death Comp 5 alert to not have this deer bust me, to where I'd almost like, if I'm going to see a lot of deer, I'd rather them come in, do their deer thing, and then move on so then daddy can come in.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Just keep it moving,
And I want to see more deer, the better. I think the sits are more fun, but I don't necessarily want deer bedded under me.
Right. Yep. I will say right now, all my sits, excluding Michigan, all my Illinois sits so far have been slow, monotonous, sweaty sits. But
Yeah,
I've seen two of the better deer I've seen in a long time in two different evenings. I mean, I had a 140-inch framey 8-pointer at 50 yards that I was going to kill.
it's a nice 8-pointer.
Real good 8, dude. Real good 8. When I saw him, I'm like, oh, my God. Like, at first I had to do, like, a double take, and I'm like, is he a shooter? Because when I looked at him at first, I'm like, oh, he's Pope and Young. And then he picked his head up. I'm like, no, he is not. He's probably 18 inches wide. He's got decent mass, not great mass, great tine length, great beams. I mean, he comes out 50 yards. I mean, I didn't want to force a shot. A lot of season left. He was broadside at 50, and I'm like, I made that mistake last year, and I'm like, I don't want to force the situation right now. And, he stood there at 50 yards eating on standing corn in a standing cornfield. And I'm like, I got to let you walk. And I'm just like, what the hell, And
Yeah.
he's just mowing down corn, and he kind of works off. But going back to the coughing thing, the night after that happened, I'm sitting back in the same stand. I get in. I mean, it's 80. Like, you live in Illinois. You're only 2 hours north of me right now. It's been 85 the last 2 or 3 days.
Not ideal.
Not ideal by any means, but I've got a good wind. I guess if there is a good wind for the stand that I want to get in the I mean, the bucks are there after dark on camera right now. The bucks are there. Every one of the shooters is showing up after dark. So I'm like, I feel like I've got to make
Same thing here.
Yeah, and I feel like I've got to make an effort, but I'm not pushing in yet. I mean, I'm hunting in an inside corner on a standing cornfield right now.
Yeah, I think that's a great move. Standing corn or fresh cut corn. And then I'm seeing the same thing, an hour after dark, there's your deer. So it's like, you can't if a deer doesn't want to move, you can't make a move.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So you're kind of you're this early, in my opinion, you're just waiting on if you do your homework to get yourself in the right spot, and you're just waiting on the luck that he moves earlier in shooting hours than he would normally at this time of year when it's 85 degrees.
Yep, and that's the instance I had Saturday night. So one of the beauties of standing corn is it makes for a great entry and great exit if you need to be.
Yeah.
And we had about a 500-yard walk through standing corn. Got in. You can get in real quiet. Got in the stand, sitting by 5. And, I mean, they're short sits. Like, I'm not going to go out there and just bake in the sun for 3 hours, you know?
Dude, I have been, man, and I don't know why. I just I get anxious, and I'm like the other day I had a first sit in a stand that I hung over summer, and like I just wanted to get in early, and like I had a branch I had to trim. I guess, you know what I mean? Just little stuff I didn't feel like doing when it was 105 degrees that I was like, I'll just do it when I go in and sit, and I'll get in early enough and kind of like make sure my pull ropes are good and my safety straps are good. And then that takes I always feel like, oh, it could take a long time because sometimes it gets complicated.
Right.
And I get in, it took me 5 minutes, and I'm just like, all right, well,
here I am.
I'm in here.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Yeah.
So it's not the smartest, probably more opportunity to like spook a deer that gets on the other side of you or whatever. But
yeah, for sure.
Shorter sits in the hot weather, much better.
Yeah, it's. I mean, shooting light's ending at 7, maybe a little before right now, so it's basically a 2-hour sit. But I got in. Casey was filming me. I get in, and we're sitting there, and like the deer cough thing at 5:30, you can hear the loudest cough. He sounded like he was right underneath of us. Well, he's behind us, and I didn't know it was a he. Just, it sounded deep. And
Right,
I agree with your theory on they just got up from a bed. Like,
yeah,
because where the stand is, I mean, it's tight to bedding. I mean, it is, it's tight to what we thought was bedding. And I feel like now that this just confirmed this. So I hear this cough, and then I'm like, I can hear him walking. Like he's walking to the inside corner of the cornfield, and I can't see him, but I can hear him, and he's close. I mean, he's probably within 50, but he's, like you said, the foliage is up right now. You can't see nothing. So I'm just boring holes in this little pocket that I have to this inside corner, and all of a sudden I just see tines. And I'm like, and I went to Casey, I said, shooter. And then he takes another step, I said, giant, big deer. And I just kept saying, like get up, turn around, kind of thing, because he was facing away, and I didn't know if he could hear me. Well, I pop up, and I get the binos on him, and I know exactly what deer it is. I've had pictures of him on cell cam in the summer in velvet, and he hadn't shown up since then. And I'm like, when I got pictures of him, and the pictures I got of him were a mile from this stand on the same farm in velvet, and he's now relocated here. Speaking of trail cams, I will say cell cams in particular have been a really big asset for me here in Illinois because, as I'm home in Michigan, I'm, getting these pictures instantly, and I can tell when I need to be down here in Illinois and really get after these deer when they start showing up in daylight. Now, if you guys are looking for a good cell cam, I am running the renders from Exodus right now, so go check those out because they're awesome. And I've said it before, with cell cams in general, I like getting that info instantaneously so I can look at the weather and see what's going on right now and ask myself why. Why is this deer doing this? And cell cams in general do that to a T, and that's why I really like them. But if you guys are looking for a new camera, go check out Exodus trail cams at exodusoutdoorgear.com. And I'm like, holy crap, it's him. He's the best way I can describe him. He's a cagey, like real cagey mainframe 10-point. All day he'll go 160 all day.
Ooh,
all
that's
day.
a nice buck. As soon as someone says cagey, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yes, he's very, very. He's just a cage, He comes out and he's sitting in the inside corner. He's at 50 yards right now, but he is like through some thick stuff. He's starting to walk away a little bit from us, and he just kind of mills out in the corn. When he got to my lane, it was 60 yards, and again, I'm like, I'm not going to take a 60-yard shot right now. I don't know. That's just not me for right now, I guess.
It's a poke, yeah.
It's
especially
a
with
poke.
like all the foliage, and he was in standing corn, you said?
Yeah, yep.
See, there's a lot going on that you might not be able to see at 60 yards with the corn,
Exactly. Yep. And he sat there for probably 5 minutes at the most and just kind of worked off. And I'm like, damn it. But now I know he's here, and then I had the 8 the night before. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to ride the hole here. I got a south wind, which has been great for these deer, and they're coming out in south winds. But I guess the whole moral of the story is I feel like we were within at least 100 yards of where this deer is bedded. We got in, and that just is a testament of the corn getting in for entry. We could get in tight to where we speculated that these deer were bedding, and it was. I mean, I really feel like he just got out of his bed, and we caught him. It was 5:30 in the afternoon. Like, there's 2 hours of daylight left, and it's 85 degrees. Like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you up? I love that you're up, but why are you up? Yeah.
I noticed when I watched that buck that had underneath me bedded, it was 6 o'clock before he got up and did anything. Like, just after 6, actually. And that's when I've been seeing a lot of my deer, like, right at that 6 o'clock mark lately, this early,
Yep, the 8 the night before, he came out at like 6:30. It was like closing time kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think he traveled a little bit because he came in from a different direction. And the other thing is too, and I always beat myself up about the wind, but both these deer came in from the wind to their back, and
yeah.
But to their credit, they both entered the field from the lowest point of the field. So with the thermals pulling down, I don't think it really mattered that it was at their back because it had kind of like a swirl effect. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to be on the edge of the field, but there's like a bowl on the inside of this corner. And if we were on the edge, I mean, it would have been just a vacuum of our scent. So we had to be in 30, 40 yards into the timber, just outside of that like little vortex, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's something that like this instance in particular really was like a light bulb moment. Like if we were on the edge, we probably would have busted him before he even got up. I don't know, but you can send milkweed or whatever. I use these little. It's not quite milkweed, but it's like little feather deals or whatever. But it gets out there and it does wicked things when it gets out to the field. It's crazy.
Yeah, those deer know that. They know those pockets, and that's like a lot of times why they spend their times or will bed in certain areas because they can catch things a little differently. But I feel like I get hung up on which I think is smart to get hung up on wind direction because you're thinking about how a deer's going to enter a field or come out of this area or what he's going to do on this wind or whatever. And I run a lot of my game plans. I have my circle of guys I call, and Austin Chandler's in that group. And he's like,
yep.
He's pretty much, he's like, dude, I'm not as concerned. Like, I watch big deer walk into a spot with the wind at their back all the time. He goes that they do, generally high percentage wise move with the wind to their face. He's like, but not always.
Right.
And, I've killed bucks where I'm like one of my favorite deer ever, Creepy, he turned around with the wind at his back and came right to me, and I killed him at 12 yards, and why he did it, I don't know. Maybe he had a couple hundred yards to go to where he was going to go to get it back in his favor, and I just happened to be in the middle of that situation, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Austin's a good one to listen to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got just as good a track record as anybody.
Yeah, I mean, no kidding, right? And it's good to have those guys in your back pocket that you can call and run your game plan by. And it's cool when you talk to guys like that, just to your buddies in general. You're like, hey, man, here's the map. This is kind of what I'm thinking. And they might see something that you don't, even though you've stared at that same map for hours on end. And you know what I mean? Like, hey, have you tried this or have you thought about this? And a lot of times I'll be like, oh, man, I didn't even see that. Like,
yeah.
You almost get boxed into your own mind when you look at something over and over again that you become, I do anyway. I become like boxed into my own ideas and I can't see a different angle.
Like tunnel vision.
Vision, yeah.
Yep. That's a good thing. Like I hunt with Casey a lot. So it's like the other day I was on Onyx. I'm like sitting here in the computer. He walks in the room. He's like, what you looking at? Like, what are you studying? I looked at this inside corner for 20 minutes, and he comes in, he's like, what you look at? I'm like, this was after the 8-point encounter, and I'm like, man, I really want to try to get closer to this inside corner.
Yeah.
And, literally it might be like a 20 to 30 yard move, just get into a hang and hunt, move the stands and get in. But honestly, when you get there, when you get down, boots on the ground, like by a tree. We went right up to the tree I wanted to get in, and I mean, granted I was on the ground, but you hit a wind puffer or like I said, like a milkweed or something. You throw it, and it's like it's literally like a tornado right there, and it's pulling right down to the low point where these deer are coming out, and I'm like, God, we cannot move. Like we can't get in here. I just felt like, and I didn't want to push it right now. Like
right,
I don't want. I mean, it's
thing.
October 8th, so.
For sure, and I kind of do that too. Like I find myself getting excited because I've been seeing deer to want to make a move that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense right now. Like I don't know. I've had a couple of my buddies like talk me out of some game plans I wanted to make this season already. It's like guys I trust, guys I seek to for advice. It's like, hey man, I don't know. I would probably hold out till things are perfect. And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yep. And that's exactly where we were kind of in. That situation. Then I'm like, okay, so let's see if we can make like a makeshift ground blind in the corn. Like, can we get in this corn? Because on the inside corner, it's like literally it's like a bowl inside the corn, and all the corn is like knee to waist high, where the deer have just hammered it all summer. And I'm like, man, we could get right on the edge of that. Well, we ended up finding like a deadfall, where we could get the most consistent wind. Like we were just honestly just walking around a little bit. I mean, creeping around and trying to find where the most consistent wind was. And that's what we did last night. We got in a deadfall, and I mean, we got to 30 yards from where these deer have been coming out. And it's, we were getting a consistent wind, but every once in a while you'd feel it, and you'd feel it hit the back of your neck, and you're like, shit, God, I don't like this. And then like a split second later, it would change. And I'm like, okay, just stay,
right.
just stay, and we fought that. I never saw a deer, so that's probably why,
Right. Yeah, could be.
So
what's your thoughts on, sorry, I'll kind of change it on you real quick. I'm curious. So I'm a big scent elimination guy. I'm not necessarily a cover scent guy or a scent guy in general. Yep. I think no scent's the best move you can make. But what do you think of like products like cover scent or like a product like Nose Jammer, for example? You ever like looked into any of that?
Yeah. So I'm kind of with you. I'm like not a big scent guy, but I do have like a little bottle of Nose Jammer in my pack all the time. I've killed 2 good bucks, and I feel like Nose Jammer helped me out. I'm not saying this is what killed the deer for me. One instance, I just actually talked about this deer. It was opening day of Michigan, 2016, I think it was. And I had a wind that was where I killed this deer. He was completely downwind of me. He was a 120-inch deer, good for my area in Michigan. He came in complete downwind. When he hit when he stopped, put his nose up, trying to get me, and then I had an arrow in him right then. So, I don't know. Does Nose Jammer work? I've had more instances where I felt like it worked than it didn't. So that's the best thing I can tell you. My scent
I'll tell you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I use Nose Jammer shampoo, and I don't have no affiliation with Nose Jammer, for the record.
Agreed.
But,
I'm the same thing.
I use Nose Jammer like soap in their deodorant because not that I think like it's gonna jam the nose of the deer or whatever, but because it has like that light vanilla hint to it.
Yes.
I feel like it's better to have that working against like my body odor, because a lot of the just no scent, like scent elimination deodorant and soaps, I feel like I just stink through them right away.
Mm-hmm. No,
do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I feel like a little bit of love with vanilla or whatever else is in Nose Jammer or like soaps and deodorants. I feel like it just keeps me smelling like a human for longer.
Yep, I agree, and I do the same thing. I use Nose, and I have used it for probably, I think it came out in 13 or 14 or something like that. I've used it basically since then, like the shampoo and everything. And my scent regimen kind of is like I don't spray down or nothing. I use
scent elimination or
like I have an Oz unit, like it's almost like it's like an ozonics basically.
Is it like ScentLock's deal?
Yes, ScentLock's Oz unit. It's called a Nano, and I put it in my tub, with all my clothes, and like you guys got to do with the scent crusher thing, and you just do like a wash or whatever. I do that, but I wash my clothes with scent-free detergent. I do that, and then in my tubs, I take cedar boughs and I take oak leaves and stuff like that, and I put them in the bottom of it, and I just kind of like let that smell get all over it, and then that's basically what I do.
I like that. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
That's it. And honestly, I mean, you got the guys out there that are, some guys that just don't worry about the wind at all. I'm not that guy. I'll never be that guy, because you will not do enough research or science or anything to tell me that I can go in, no matter what I do, that I will be scent free. I mean, there's so much gear that you have that you take in with you, down to the straps on your tree stand, down to the fletching on your arrow, to your peep sight, to your kisser button, whatever it is. You're telling me that you can be completely 100% scent free. I'm not buying it. I'll never buy it. I won't.
I'm with you. I think you can put in your best efforts. You know, it's like your clothes, your body for the most part. But yeah, like I think going in 100% like a deer cannot smell me is ignorant.
Oh, 100%. I agree.
But why not take some steps to help? It's like, I wonder, like, there's times where I feel like, oh, that deer can smell me right now, but they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You know what I mean? Like, and there's other times where a deer locks up in his tracks and you're like, uh-oh, he smells me. And then, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So, I have yet to try nose jammer in a way to where I'm like, yep, here's this aerosol can, spraying my body. I have not done that yet, but I've done just like light soap deodorant type thing. I've never full blown blasted like my equipment or my body or anything with the aerosol can. Maybe I'll try it, but I'm a little reluctant.
I was reluctant about like spraying my equipment and everything. The extent of what I take it to is when I get to the tree, if I really feel like I need to make a move on this, and this might, I said this phrase to Casey last night when we're sitting on the ground and the wind is swirling. And I'm like, I think I'm going to jam him up. And I literally told him, I said, if it gives me another 10 yards, I'm good with that. If it could buy me 10 yards, 5 yards for a deer, where he comes to the edge and gives me 5 yards out into onto the inside corner, it worked. You know what I mean? If it will give me that, that's kind of where my headspace is at on it. And so the extent of I take it is I'll spray it on the tree right next to me, or if I'm in a tree, I'll just do like a line, right on the tree behind me, and then that's it. Like that's all I do. I feel like if I spray it on my bow, I just feel like my bow will. I don't know. I don't know if I want to spray it on my bow. I'm just not to that point.
I hear you. Maybe I'll try it. Like tonight, it's raining here, and I think it's supposed to rain all day.
Yep.
I don't know. I want to go to that ground blind to hunt because it's raining and I can stay comfortable. Maybe I'll try it in the ground blind tonight and just see, just experiment, because it's a low pressure as far as access is concerned. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll spray down and just be like, wow, it bought me time. And like, who knows?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I think, and this is my opinion, you can say I'm full of shit or whatever, but if you can think, I'm not saying you in general, but if whoever's listening, like if you can think of like, if you're hunting a just off wind and you can buy yourself 5 to 10 yards with something, if you really think it's like, that's the mindset I feel like you need to have, but that's just me. Because I feel like sometimes when there's deer that like get your scent and they're like, boom, they blow, they're gone, but then there's deer that'll sit there and they might not blow, but they're trying to figure it out. And as they're figuring it out, they might like take a couple steps or like, I need to get a whiff of that. Like, like what is that? And it might buy you 3, 4, 5 yards, enough to get an arrow through one, that's kind of where I'm at with it, I guess.
No, I think that's realistic.
So I shouldn't say I don't spray down with anything. I will take like my pack. I don't like washing my pack like in the washing machine. Like I'll wash it.
Never wash my packs.
Dude, I spent so much on a pack and I don't want to wash it. Yeah,
I ozone the shit out of them.
I do the same thing, but what I'll do is I'll take like I will take a cover up scent that's just like a dirt or earth scent, and I'll spray it with that, and that's about the extent of it.
That's funny, man. The earth scent wafers always crack me up.
I love
like,
the smell of them, though. I'm not gonna lie to you.
to me, I'm like, it smells like dirt, but that's almost like the equivalent to when you have a pumpkin spice candle, and you're like, yeah, I know what pumpkins smell like, and it ain't like that candle.
Right.
That's how I feel about the dirt wafers.
Yeah. Well, it's an old school game too. I mean, those came back how long ago? It was so long ago those came out. Like, the guys with like Stan Potts with like the pin and the wafer in his hat.
Yeah, it's just classic looking. I know what you're saying. Like, I like the smell of them, but I don't know if I would use them. We kind of have an inside joke. I'll just tell it real quick. When we were hunting in Colorado, there was like scent wafers in camp that someone had left, like, because we just stayed at the trailhead, and I didn't realize our buddy Austin from Buckstorm was actually putting them out. I thought someone had left them in camp. So our first walk in the dark, my dad and I kind of like don't use any of that stuff. So we're like, God, I keep smelling those damn earth wafers. And, my dad's like, yeah, God, what? I hate that, and we're kind of just being a little dramatic. And then we look over and Austin's got them all over his clothes. And so now it's just kind of like this big joke with we're working class in the Buckstorm crew that we hate earth scented wafers. So,
I will say, I don't think
harmless.
they hurt you. Like, if I really don't think they would hurt you, but I don't know.
I know what you're saying, and we were just being dramatic about it, but yeah, I don't think so. I mean, there's definitely. I would rather have an earth wafer than be doused in like a Tink 69 buck bomb or something. You know what I mean?
Buck bomb.
Yeah.
Man, there's some gimmicky things out there, huh?
It's crazy, but man, people buy it though.
They do.
Where there's a demand, people create the supply and they make money.
100%. And I mean, hunters in general, just hook, line, and sinker. We are a group of people that are just like, yeah, I gotta have that.
Well, the difference is, I think you get the guys that don't want to put the amount of time and dedicated effort and money into it, like because it's our main passion.
Right.
Where you get the guys that go out 3 weekends a year, maybe, so they see it as I'm buying everything I can to try and lure in a buck for the Saturday that I get to go out.
Right. Yep.
And whatever, I get it to a point. I get the
Whatever
thought process on it.
Yeah.
But
speaking of scent control and stuff right now, kind of get back on that topic. Right now, like we said, it's been hotter than shit out. Like, what are you doing right now as far as like walking to the stand in the evenings where you're like just sweating to beat hell? Like, do you take extra clothes with you? Like, do you change in the blind? Like, what is your process right now to try to like, combat sweating your balls off, but also having a comfortable sit?
I'm going to sound really spoiled right now.
It's all right.
Okay, for clothing wise, what I wear in, I always like a hoodie no matter what. Mm-hmm. Just because I like the pockets. I don't ever wear gloves, so I like to put my hands in the pockets, keep mosquitoes off them. It's kind of my hands are tattooed, so I don't really have to wear gloves for camouflage, which is funny. And so I just like that comfort of being able to stand or sit with my hands in a pocket like that on like the front of the hoodie. So like last night I went out, I had a hoodie on with no shirt underneath, and we use Huntworth camo, and it's got a big like quarter zip on the hoodie. So I just zipped it down and kind of let my chest hang out a little bit until it got a little later in the evening. But on some properties, I will take my e-bike and roll in, and that's my first time ever doing that this year with a bike. And I always thought like the bikes were expensive, and they are expensive. But I always thought, my mindset is on it now, is guys either have a four-wheeler for access or they have an e-bike. Mm-hmm. And that bike, it's like I call it my magic carpet.
You're Aladdin.
Because it's my Aladdin mobile, because I get in there and there's no scent trail, and I'm pedaling and stuff. I have like pedal assist turned on, but I'm not like cranking hard, and I just kind of go casually and slow, so it's not rattling or making noise. And you still work up a sweat because you're biking and you know what I mean? You're doing that thing, but it's helped me a ton. So like the scent trail has almost been non-existent when I use the bike.
I gotcha.
And I'm telling you, they're worth their weight in gold.
I know they are, man. I want one so bad. so bad. I need to get one.
We work with Rogue Ridge, and it's been like great people and a great company to work with. And I've always wanted to. I'm a BMX kid. I grew up riding bikes, so obviously anything bike related is interesting. So for me to blend bike riding and hunting kind of in one thing is neat for me. But I'll tell you, I think it was easy for me when they first came out. I was that guy that was like, that's stupid. Like, they're $3,000. That's dumb. Why would anyone buy? And then the more I learned about them, and now that I use them, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yep. Takes you a little bit to get over that hump. You know what I mean? Like, this is definitely essential, and I it's something I need to have in my arsenal. Like, I definitely see that, because I was the same way with, I shoot a Garmin sight on my bow. I've shot it for 3 years now. And before, I'm like, man, there's no way I'd pay for that. But now, I'd pay for it twice. I'm not going to lie to you. It is that
Really?
nice. Oh, yeah, it's that nice. It's that piece of archery gear that I think a lot of people, myself included, like, before I had it and used it, was like, man, it's technology. You're relying on technology in a pivotal point. In 3 years, I have yet to have one issue with that thing. One issue, no issues ranging in the rain, nothing. I've had the same batteries in it. I should probably change them just because I feel like I could get to the stand one time and they'll be dead. But I've yet to change the batteries since I've gotten it. It's the best piece of archery gear I've ever had, but it's $1,000. So it's like,
yeah. And I'll tell you, Aaron, to be honest, I'm the dude who judged that site for real.
Really?
When it came out, yeah, I am. Like I don't care, whatever. But at the time when it came out, it was a hot topic of conversation, kind of in the podcasting and stuff. We talked about it, and I hated on it. Not gonna lie, I'm indifferent now, whatever. But at the time, I was kind of like, nah. But I kind of was on e-bikes too,
I was the same way. I was like, man, an e-bike, like, well, what? Why? Like, kind of a weird thing. But then I'm like, last year I found myself riding my pedal bike to the stand as much as I could. You know what I mean? Just to save on a little bit of energy, save on some sweating, and I knew it was gonna be an easy ride in. But then I'm like, God, an e-bike would be great. And now it's to the point where I'm like, I have to have an e-bike. It would just be so nice.
I've learned that, like, this rolling in, like the scent trail, like, just, maybe you leave some scent trail just from your scent coming through that area, but you're not walking, your boots aren't there, the grass isn't hitting your pants. So I think that is a big difference. I think it's probably the difference of a deer coming in and getting locked up on your trail and not.
Yep. Yeah.
But I also get, like, an e-bike's not in the cards for everybody. I understand that too.
Agreed.
And I'll tell you, if I would have rode a buddy's bike and then used it, like, what I would say, if you know someone with a bike, ask to borrow it for 2 hunts.
Just test it out first.
Just to test it out. And I think you'd come out going, wow, okay. And maybe your property might not work for it. Like, if I had an insane hilly property, yeah, you could probably still use it. But if you're running a lot of field edges or like edges of hay fields, or even if you just got a long jaunt from where you park your truck and you just need to beat feet quickly to a certain area and then park the bike, lay it down in the grass, and then make your strategic entry, there's a place for that too,
For sure. Yeah. Well, and that's to kind of go back to what I was saying about, sweating and everything like that. You like the hoodie route. So I've kind of morphed. I don't know. I have scent wicking base layers that are light, but they're all long sleeves. And my whole philosophy is, okay, I get the scent wicking. It gets away from your body. I understand that. But right now it's so damn hot that I will wear just a T-shirt to the stand, and I will take an extra T-shirt in with me that are washed in scent-free soap. I do take a few just regular normal T-shirts every year, and they're my hunting shirts as well. I'll wash them in scent-free soap, and that's the extent of it. But I will wear a T-shirt into the stand. When I get in the stand, I will change that T-shirt, and I will put the other T-shirt in my bag, zipped up, like, hopefully no scent comes out of it. If it does, it does. But honestly, like, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I am the person that hates having sweat on me. Like,
yeah, it sucks.
I do not want to sit in a stand with frickin' sweat just dripping off me. So when I get into the stand, I get ready and I just kind of sit there and let my body like cool down a little bit, and then I'll switch my shirt, put a new one on, and then I'll put my jacket on or whatever I'm going to wear on the outside. So that's kind of my route of it. And my scent control stuff has really changed over the years. I used to be really anal, like only wear rubber boots. Now I wear lace up leather boots majority of the time because in 2016 I stopped wearing any sort of like clothing that was activated carbon, like scent lock or anything. I wear like athletic fitting, clothing. I want to be comfortable. I finally got to the point I'm like, I want to be comfortable. I don't want to have like scent lock. I get it, the technology, the activated carbon, everything, but their clothing is baggy. It's not form fitting. It's not. It just isn't. And I'm like, I hate looking like a balloon out there and just all this stuff hanging off me.
Like a soup sandwich.
Exactly. So, I wear, Cabela's Instinct stuff. I actually wear like their mountain wear stuff, like that you go on a mountain hunt with. It's a lot like your guys' hunt wear stuff because I've wore hunt wear before. It's like more athletic, form fitting, and I'm just comfortable, and it makes the sits more worthwhile. I guess I should say.
Yeah, and a bonus for it is it's fairly inexpensive.
Yes.
For most people, and I'm happy with it. I'm happy with what I've had. There's a ton of good clothing companies out there. I personally like their patterns. I think that's always,
I do too.
Not that camos, there's that argument, right? But I just think it helps if it looks cool.
Yeah, it does. Casey and I had this conversation on the way down here to Illinois this week, and I was like, man, I kind of want to look for like some different clothing. I've wore the same clothing for like the last 6 years. And I'm like, I kind of want to switch it up. I'm the kind of guy that wants to wear something different than everybody has. Like, I just don't like following the trends when it comes to that. And I'm like, I want something that looks good. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, and I told him, I was like, the Instinct came out with new clothing this year. It's kind of the same stuff, but it's got a different pattern, and the pattern looks badass. And I'm like, I would buy it just for the pattern.
Dude, Huntworth Tarnin is awesome looking.
Really?
It's a really good looking camo, I think. I mean, I like their Disruption as well. That's what I'm wearing. But they have the two patterns, the Tarnin and Disruption. They have another one too. I just can't think of the name. But the Tarnin's a really sharp looking pattern. Like, I think it's probably effective, but it like just to the human eye, it's like pleasing to look at.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
And that don't matter, but man, if you're gonna spend money or get something new, you want to feel cool.
Yeah, you do. I mean, you don't want to look like just a turd either, so right, I mean I've been there's some days where I'll go in and I'll just wear like I have a pair of green, have you ever heard of the Wrangler like, I'm gonna call them stretchy pants, but they're like a Kuiu or a mountain pant, you know what I mean? They're like
I know exactly what you're talking about. They're like $20 at Walmart.
Yes. I bought 4 pair. I bought 2 green, 2 brown. They're Wranglers. They are so comfortable. I'm like, these would be great for like early season. I wear
have the shorts version of those, and I saw the pants version. I didn't know they had the pants like that. I saw them at Walmart, and I'm like, dang, I'm about to pick up a few of those just for everyday wear, you know?
Yeah, Kevin Vistison told me about them. He's like, dude, I work in these things. He's a plumber, and he's like, I put him through the paces, and he's like, these things are nice. So I picked up a pair. I think they were $26 a piece. And I'm like, this is awesome. So there's times where I'll just wear like green pants or like just a drab color or something. And I don't know. I've been really relaxed like the last couple of years. Like I'd rather it almost got to the point where it was like everything was getting to be too much work. Washing your stuff all the time, or not washing all your stuff, but like putting in the tubs all the time and getting out and getting your bow out of the case. It just like got to the point where I was like, man, I need to change something up here.
I hear you, man. That's what's nice about Scent Crusher is great because it's ozone, it's scent eliminator, but like the way their bags are set up is just convenient. So
agreed.
Like I always have mine sits in the back of my Ranger, my side by side in my garage with an extension cord plugged into it, and then I run a 5-minute cycle because I don't always like ozone the shit out of it because you don't always need to do that. And then if I'm hunting on a different property and I got to throw everything in my truck, I'll throw everything in my truck, and then I'll do the same thing, and then I just change when I get there, or I'll run like the mobile unit in my truck and ozone the entire cab. I don't know. I do that before I go because I mean I have the equipment, it's there. Why would I not utilize it?
Right. No, I agree.
I've
No,
never
that's a good point.
regretted doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What about the Huntworth gear really turned you guys on for using it? Like, what was like the thing that took it over the edge? It was like, man, this is some legit stuff. Because I know you've had some time now to be able to use it on some hunts and really kind of put it through the paces a little bit. So, like, what was it that was like, this is good stuff?
Well, what's good for us in the podcast is like that's affordable, so it makes it easy to like talk about because it's you can buy it about anywhere. So that's like the main thing. But as far as like the clothing itself is concerned, they have a hoodie that I'm absolutely in love with. Like I wear this thing. I wear the shit out. It's like all I wear really. It's a hoodie. And I'm trying to. I wish there was like an actual name on. Let me pull up Huntworth and see if I can find.
I'm looking at their website too. Is it the 9443 DC?
Let me check. Hold on.
Men's Fairbanks heavyweight waterproof? No, that's probably not it. I'm telling you, dude. I look at all this stuff and it's just like the Cabela's Instinct stuff that I've been running. I mean, like
really?
just like it. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me pull my internet's being dumb here. The hoodie has a built-in face mask in the hood, and then they have several different pockets on the front pocket. One with a little zip pocket.
Yeah.
And that right there, just the convenience, the way it's designed for me is just, I love it. I love like where the pockets are. I love the hood style. The hood's kind of got this kind of like an elastic thing on the edge. So if it's windy, it's not blowing off your head.
Okay. Yep.
Let me see.
Is it the Sherpa fleece? They got some good stuff. I love that deception camo. Or disruption. I'm sorry, not deception. Disruption.
Yeah, the disruption's
camo.
sharp, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wish I had it here. I would just go grab it and.
There's a midweight grid fleece, hunting fleece, and it looks like it's got that built-in
That
face
might be
mask.
it.
That's what it's got, a built-in face mask. It's like $90.
Yeah, that would be it.
That's a
It's,
sick-looking piece of garment.
It's not real thick. The one I have isn't. I know they're making changes and they're growing right now in that gear. Midweight grid fleece hunting hoodie. I think this is it.
It's called the Shelton hoodie. That's the one I'm looking at.
I think this is it. Let me. Yep, that's it. That's it for sure.
The men's
for sure
Shelton midweight hoodie.
Yep,
Sweet.
this is 100% it. It's see the pockets, the front pockets, how there's like the regular hoodie pocket and then there's that zip pocket.
That's nice.
I just love that because you can keep like you can throw something in there that you don't want to fall out when you're climbing a tree or whatever. And
For
that
sure.
face mask. What's nice about the face mask is you'd think, oh, that's going to get in your way. When I don't want to wear that face mask, I just put it behind my head and you don't even know it's there.
I got you.
But on the hood, how it looks like that's kind of like an elastic type band that's on the front of that hood. Like when you wear a hat, it kind of like grips to the front of your hat over like to where your bill meets like I guess the crown of your hat.
Yep.
And so it doesn't blow off. It's nice.
That is cool. Man, they got some. I'm telling you, dude, when I'm looking at some of this stuff, it's like the same kind of style as what I wear.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
That's that hoodie, the Shelton hoodie. Yeah. 9373 DC. That's my number one piece of clothing right now. I'm in love with it. I love the fit of it. I love the look of it. I love the functionality of it. And I'm like that. I think every year I find a different piece of clothing that's like my one, grab that, I need that to go hunting type of thing,
Yep.
you know? And it's always hoodie. It's always a foundation of some sort of hoodie.
I like that. But that's not even like a big bulky hoodie either. That's like a form-fitting, like athletic fitting hoodie. So it's not like you're out there like the Michelin Man. You know what I mean?
You could wear that hoodie out and about, and people will be like, "That's a cool hoodie." You know
Yep.
what I mean? And
Yep.
I just love it. I don't know. That's my number one go-to. And then I have a pair of the midweight pants, which are really great, and tough too. And then I have dude, and I tell you, in Wyoming, I slid down a mountain face, and I thought for sure I was gonna have holes in those pants, and they survived it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed all around.
That's cool. Good deal. I'm gonna do a harsh transition here. I want to talk about hunting mornings right now. What are you doing? Are you hunting mornings? And like, if so, like, when are you transitioning off hunting mornings? Because I'm guessing you're not doing it. If you are, you're not doing it like every morning.
I'm not hunting. I have not hunted a morning yet.
Okay.
But I haven't had anything to tell me to hunt mornings yet.
Yep.
If something's happening where it's like I got deer moving at 7:30, and there has been, I got deer on cam moving like that, but not the deer that I want to see.
Yep.
I just think right now I'm waiting to make my game plans. I'm tempted to go at times, but I'm just waiting. I might wait another week and a half before I do my first morning sit. I might go this weekend. I don't know. I'm a weird dude, man. I get a hankering. I'm like, it just feels good. I'm going in the morning.
Yep. Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head the same way I feel too. Like the farm that I'm hunting right now in Illinois, like the third and the fourth, like second, third, and fourth, there was 2 shooters on this food plot in daylight in the morning. So I'm like, but not in the evening. So I'm like, okay, I got to get in early. Mm-hmm. I hunted the first morning, saw a couple deer, didn't see them. They didn't show. Hunted the next morning, nothing showed. And then I was like, okay, yep, I've done it. Time, that's good. I'm leaving, not coming back. Once I get that first, like in this time right now, early October, once I get that first, okay, you're pushing deer and you might not even know it. Because then you take a morning off and then the deer are back in there. Like, okay, that just confirmed that I was just fucking things up. So.
Yeah, definitely. And I've had, I had 2 sits on 2 different properties this year to where I see deer out in a field and I know where I'm at. They might make their way to me, but not before dark settles.
Right.
So I'm not going to sit there and wait till dark and have them be halfway to me and then see me get down and spook them in the dark on my exit. So once it comes to that point, I just get down and leave.
Mm-hmm. I do the same thing.
Because I know you leave with the confidence, especially so early. Like you can say, those deer didn't know I left and I know it. Whereas if it happened in the dark, you're like, I don't know, maybe. I haven't seen that buck in 2 weeks. Maybe I boogered him up too bad, And I'm just trying to eliminate the head scratcher of like, I don't know what happened. I could have spooked him in the dark, I'd rather know. But that don't mean that I can't do that in a week and a half when I start hunting mornings just because things are telling me it's better.
Right.
It still happens.
Yeah, and there's a big cold front coming up in Michigan. You guys are probably going to get it too this weekend. Are you guys getting the big front that's coming through?
I haven't checked that far, but yeah, I've been hearing everybody talking about like we're supposed to get a break.
So like right now in Michigan, I think the highs are like mid 70s. Well, the high on Saturday is supposed to be like 52, and the low is supposed to be like 40, and then Sunday's the same way. So those are some times where like I might push in 1 morning or 2 mornings this weekend, but I do know like my cameras are showing better in the evening. It's like, do you go in there and fuck it up in the morning, or do you just like, I think probably me being as passive as I am, and it's not like it's starting to kind of be that time, but not like we're not there yet. Like I'll probably won't hunt Saturday morning, go in a little early on Saturday night, ride it out, see what happens. And then just kind of feel from there and kind of go that way.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. But I'll tell you the following weekend I'm hunting mornings.
Yeah, that like second or the last 2 weekends or last 2 weeks of October, you're starting mornings then.
Yeah, I'll probably gear up and start, but not recklessly,
Yep. Do you really like to start like kind of fringe-ish? And then like move in at like slow little bites, or like how do you? I know every situation is different, so but like in a broad spectrum, like in a perfect world, what's your kind of game plan to like move in?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. Deer are fringe animals by nature, from how I view it. I'd say that's probably the best way to explain. Like I inch my way in, but then I don't know though, because like one of my favorite spots, I have not sat. And I haven't even thought about it yet. But the winds have been stupid for it. But yeah, I don't know. It just depends. Like this weekend, I might get the hanker and be like, man, I'm going to go in there and get back in that spot.
Right. Yeah.
So in a broad, generalized statement, yes, I start on the fringes and slowly work my way in to where I feel like it's going to be good. But I also feel like there's a day in October where I just feel like everything changes and I'm like, all right, it's go time.
Yep. I agree. Last year for me, I agree with you 100%. Last year for me it was 19th of October. Everything changed overnight.
I agree. I 100% agree with you. 100%. I think the same exact date because I think I killed the buck on the 20th. Like I didn't see deer until I went from seeing very low deer numbers to being tagged out in 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
So my season was like, man, it seems slow to, I shot a doe and a coyote. The following day I shot a buck. And then 5 days later, I shot my second buck and tagged out. I was like, wow, that escalated really fast, which is cool. Fast, you know, I'll take it. But I feel like that's when it changed for me too, like 19th, 20th.
And I feel like it's give or take plus or minus a few days for me anyway, right around that 19th, 20th area. That's when it, like I've killed bucks on the 18th and 19th, and I've had good encounters throughout the years. And like for some reason, that's just when it switches. Now, the anomaly part of that is like if it's really warm, I don't see as dramatic as a switch. But like if it stays stagnant, agreed. I would say like 50, 60 degrees. If it even stays stagnant, it switches overnight for me. It doesn't have to be like a huge front, if that makes sense.
No, I think that makes a ton of sense. Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. Last year was also weird too. If you remember, like October was really killer weather, and then November's just like, I feel like doing what October normally does.
Yes. Yep. It was kind of ass backwards.
It was ass backwards. I was thankful to be tagged out because I was like, man, I don't feel like going to sit when it's hot because you want to be cold and crispy when you get up on a November morning, not 80 degrees.
I know. Oh, I know. Yep.
Hopefully it cooperates this year and just does what like the world normally makes late October and November do.
I know. Let's just have like a normal, like how it's supposed to be drawn up and just let us have that.
Yeah, the rest of the world's on fire. Just give us hunting season how it normally is.
Yes, for sure. Oh, man. Well, we're getting up in time here. I guess let me know or let everybody else out there know what's going on. You guys got a lot of stuff going on right now. You've got the working class on Deercast. Wow, I can't talk. So kind of explain that a little bit and let everybody know, even for the haters that are out there hating on you right now, because I know we got to stay strong. People are hating. They think you're selling out. You're not selling out.
Well, I love it. But I appreciate you getting me a second to like kind of plug this. So we started a new series. It's not a replacement. I think there's a lot of people thought it was replacing Working Class Bowhunter, which it's definitely not. Everything Working Class Bowhunter is staying consistent and going to rev up even more as we go. We plan on just doing a ton more and stepping up quality, even on the video podcast side, live podcast, exclusive podcast content, stuff like that. We have a ton in the works right now for the normal Working Class Bowhunter series. But Working Class on Deercast is something we're doing. We teamed up with Jury Outdoors and, of course, Deercast, which is – I love Deercast. I think it's such a great place for hunter. It's almost turned into like a hunter's social media to where you don't have to worry about like the crazy liberal left trying to shut us out because we like to hunt. Yep. Or the anti-gun movement. So it's kind of like this cool place where we can go, but it's also like a valuable tool for weather and everything you need all in one spot. And you can view content and podcasts and videos and all that there as well. But we're doing a podcast series there called Working Class on Deercast. And right now we're doing 2 episodes a month until January, and then they're going to be weekly. And it's just basically a cleaner version of Working Class Bowhunter, so kids can watch it. You can listen or watch it with your family around, whereas in our normal Working Class Bowhunter series, we're reckless a little bit, but we love that part of it too. So it's our way to kind of, it's fun to do that new series, and it's a great opportunity to the juries are good friends of ours and are becoming better and better friends. They're great people, some of the best in the industry, and they're ethical. They have a deep respect for everything that we're doing, unlike anything I've ever seen anywhere else. So we're proud to be a part of that family, and we're learning so much about the industry and whitetail. Like just being around Mark is insane alone,
Yes. Yep.
But yeah, it's just a series we're doing there. And then we have segments on there called the Giant Tracker segment, where we do interviews with guys who've just shot some good deer, and we have them on at the end of every podcast, like Zoom in. Right now they've all been on Zoom. So it's kind of a fun way to switch it up, but it's more direct. Working Class Bowhunter, we have a lot of bullshit talk. Like we kind of talk, and then we talk hunting, and it's kind of more community feel, where this is a little more direct into whitetails than our normal podcast platform, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting to watch that Deercast, they launch first the Jury Outdoors YouTube video, and then they launch audio only on our normal podcast feed.
Awesome, man. Good for you guys. I mean, I'd like to see you guys or see other people just keep pushing, and
Thanks, man.
doing different things. And I've listened to a couple of the podcasts. I love listening to them. They're,
Thanks, man.
I respect you guys and everything you're doing, and I'm on board. Like, it's really cool, and I like to see the podcast. I guess, I don't know what you'd call it, community still grow. I mean, there's a lot of hunting outdoor podcasts out there, but I don't want it to die. Like, I enjoy it. There's a shelf life on everything, and I don't want this to quit. Like, so I like seeing
Agreed.
you guys kind of keep pushing it further and further, and it makes other people push it. So I really like that.
Yeah, you have to, right? Like the podcast thing is like such an old technology because it's arguably just radio, but like with the internet and collaborations and different things you can do, there's a lot of untapped territory. And I think as creators, it's all up to us to get up and get it. And that, that's the beautiful thing about being in a crowded industry is like, it's the guys who stand out are the dudes that are pushing the limits and trying new things and doing things their own way without, a subconscious influence or however you want to look at it. But, and all we're doing is just doing what we want to do. And it's kind of funny. We're getting a lot of that now that we have this series with the juries. People think that I don't know. I think they think that the juries were just born into these giant farms and they didn't have to work for anything a day in their life, which is quite the opposite of reality. Because, and it's just this weird thing of like, if you have nice things, you're not working class. Well, what are you working for?
Exactly.
So that's something, and people who are saying that to us are very ignorant and very unaware of like what's actually happening. And they're probably very unfamiliar with our library. Because we had some people say, you should be doing podcasts about 5-acre parcels. Like, well, we have. Do you want us to talk about that for 500 episodes? Probably not.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's just something I got to get used to is people just saying dumb shit.
Yeah,
because
you got to branch out.
A lot of dumb shit.
Yeah, you got to branch out for different stuff. Like, same with me. Like on everything on the fall. Like, I don't want to talk about a success story for 13 weeks. Like I like sprinkling them in, but then I also like getting down in the nitty gritty. Like today, we talked a lot about scent control. Like, it's cool to talk about that, but then we might not touch on scent. I might not touch on scent control again for another year.
And you don't need to always.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's people. I think people lose track of. I mean, for one, it's our platforms and we can do whatever we want. But also, it's like mix it up. It's fun. Why would I want to talk about the same thing every time? I might want to talk about Mark. Talk on an episode about Mark killing that 216. And that's amazing. That's incredible. Those are deer people dream of, and he's the mad scientist for a reason. But that don't mean I'm not going to have my buddy that's coming in next week from Michigan. That it's a story that's coming out. He shot his first buck with a bow and he had it stolen by a trespasser.
Holy cow.
So, and it wasn't a huge deer, but to him, he was so proud of it only to have his dreams crushed, so we're going to get like, that's almost two opposite sides of the spectrum. Yeah. So for people to come at us sideways through social media, it just shows to me that they're ignorant for like what we actually do and who we are. So it doesn't really bother me that much, but it's also like in general, just look into some things, huh?
Yeah, and don't be so jealous right off the rip,
Well, it's just weird, man. I can't explain it, but it'll always be around.
Yep, I agree.
Bless their hearts,
that note, yeah, bless their hearts. If there wasn't haters out there, then who would we have to bitch about?
Hey, they're still commenting and watching and viewing, and even that thumbs down still an analytic, boy. Keep it up.
Yep. What up?
What up? Sick.
Oh man. Well, I think that's a good note. Let's cut it loose on that. I appreciate it, dude. I really do. And every time I get a chance to talk to you, it's great. So
you're killing it, man. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck the rest of the fall.
Thanks, brother. You too.
All right, there you have it. Curt Geier, thank you very much, man, for coming on and bullshitting with me. It's always good catching up with Curt, and I love what those guys have got going on. So thank you very much for that. And with that being said, please go to iTunes, leave a 5-star rating, and leave a written review. That'd be greatly appreciated. And don't forget, we'll be right here next week on the Fall Podcast.